Hey everyone, it's Craig from Flying Wheels. Welcome to my Flying Wheels YouTube channel. If you guys love anything auto related, you have stumbled across the right channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, somewhere around here, to get more car related videos. So I own a car dealership and an auto repair shop. Some of my videos are fun, some of my videos are not so fun. This is one of those videos where I'm going to tell you the bads of owning a car dealership and auto repair shop. Make this interactive. Tell me what you guys think. Comment down below on all your opinions. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? What should I change? So anyway, I have all these cars. Almost all of them I inspect before we sell. I do inspect, not all of them I inspect before I sell. So we go through them, we put them on the lift, we clean them, we fix them. If they need something, we fix them. That way when the customer buys it, it's problem free, headache free for the most part, usually. Can't predict the future, I don't have a crystal ball, but for the most part we've gone through it. I've checked out this entire Escalade so I know what I'm selling before I sell it. I try to drive them all. Here's the problem though. I own an auto repair shop too. So you can see my garage, 3 bays, 2 lifts. I have a tech in there. Well, here's what happens. I am a small town garage. The building's been here 100+ years. I'm the go-to guy in town for auto repair. So that's a great thing, you might think. Oh, I don't even advertise. People just keep showing up. This Scion here just shows up, drops off. Hey, I need a brake job. I need rear A brakes. Okay, yes, sir. I'll gladly do it. Hey, Papa Al, there he is over there. You're on video once again. Talking about the goods and bads of owning an auto repair shop today. You've been doing it 60 years. What do you think about it?
Great. The happiest job you could have.
Love that positivity. Okay, so back to the vlog. Here's what I'm doing. I own a car dealership. I also own a repair shop. I separate the two entities. One is Flying Wheels. Flying Wheels fixes cars. Backwards. Flying Wheels sells cars. Auto Experts fixes the cars. So Flying Wheels pays Auto Experts to fix the cars for me. Separate the two. Auto Experts bills Flying Wheels, and then each car has a bill from Auto Experts for the repairs that we do. Simple enough. Separate the two. Legal reasons, blah, blah, blah. That's not what the video is about. So here's what my problem is. I want to know what you guys think about this. All these cars have already been serviced, inspected. Couple on the line, the Jeep, the Dodge, the Ford F-150s, they've all been inspected. They've all been serviced. Now, what hasn't been serviced? The Nissan Quest back there. The Accord needs to be worked on. The Escalade needs to be worked on. The Colorado needs to be worked on. The Expedition needs to be worked on. The Tundra needs to be worked on. And the Crown Vic needs to be worked on. These are all cars I own. I personally have my money invested into those cars. Well, time management, poor time management or whatever. Like I said, I am the town garage. So what happens is a car like this gets dropped off. I'm also the town inspection station, so people come to me, hey, can you do a quick inspection? Yes, your $40 is more important than me doing work on my car that I'm going to sell for $4,000, $2,000, $3,000, $1,000 profit. Sure, I want to keep them happy. I do their $40 inspection, and then my Jeep Wrangler gets pushed off. Scion, 06 POS Scion needs rear brakes, needs rear e-brakes. It's going to take me all day to do this brake job because it's rusty. We're in New England. Well, let's say it's a $600 job. Parts are $250. You pay the tech $100 for the day, $150 for the day, whatever it costs. Then you pay your overhead for the building, electric, internet, telephone, taxes, mortgage, all those things. This Scion that I spend all day on, I might make like $80 on it. So where's the money in doing that stuff? So I would personally rather not have an auto repair shop. The problem is customers just keep showing up. They just keep coming. They keep coming. They need brake jobs. They need things. These little nickel and dime jobs are killing me. This F-150, we're doing transmission service, oil change, state inspection. We're doing transfer case. We're doing differentials, all the fluids, tire rotation, all easy stuff. All easy stuff we can do. It's going to tie up half my day. It's going to tie up a lift and a tech when I could be working on. So let's say $600 again. That might be $610. Fluids cost me $150. Tech cost me $150. Overhead $150. That's $450. So essentially today I'll make $150 off that F-150. But if this Tundra was finished, I would resell this Tundra and easily make $1,000 profit off of it. So here I am not working on these cars so I can make $150 on that, $80 on the Scion. Here's another one I want to show you. So this Mazda CX-3, we're doing a rear brake job on it. And here's where the real headache comes in, and that's the reason I started this vlog. Having the repair shop is 10 times the headaches. So for that, might take an hour and a half, might take 2 hours. In an 8-hour day, you get 4 of them done. Good, right? You do okay. Well, that car got here at 10. I called my parts store at 10. It's 12. Parts haven't shown up yet. So they told me they were leaving at 10. I asked them specifically, you got a truck ready? How long? Oh, we got a guy ready right here. We'll send it out. It's noon now. That car has been on the lift for 2 hours without our parts being here because our vendor effed up, didn't send us our parts. So now that 2-hour brake job is going to take me 3 hours, which I can't charge the customer for, which I'm paying him for. All those things are going to affect you and your business. Money out of your pocket. Yesterday, I ordered parts. They sent me the wrong parts. So my vendor sent me the wrong parts. So now we're waiting time and time and time and time. You're paying your guy, you're paying for vendors' parts, and you're paying the customer or giving them a break when the job takes too long because the wrong parts get sent to you, all while you are not working on your own cars that you should be getting ready to sell to make more money. Last one. I want to show you something just as an example. So these are all invoices for customers. Customers' cars for auto repair. You'll see how many go before I even get to, ready? Bill of sale. So all of these invoices are for customers getting auto repair work to one car sold. One car sold. So what's that, 20 or so for every car sold? So 20 invoices for auto repair to every one car sold. That's how much more work. I had to call in the brains right here to help me figure this one out. You can see what New England rust looks like. Don't bring it down yet. This is what trucks look like in New England. It's absolutely disgusting. Well, this truck failed inspection because of no emergency brake, and the exhaust rotted right off. So we did the exhaust, that was easy, that was quick. Well, the emergency brake cables are frozen because it's an automatic and people don't use them and they seize. So we got new emergency brake cables. You can see them going right there, all the way up, right there, all the way up. Well, when you compress the emergency brake, it squeezes all the way, yet we still have no emergency brake. We are absolutely lost on this. Okay, new hardware, new shoes, new cables, new splitters. Everything's new on it. Emergency brake's on. Here we go. It still rolls. We are solidly 7 hours into this brake job. Now, I'm responsible for diagnosing. I'm good, thank you. Now I'm responsible for diagnosing what the hell's wrong with the emergency brake. We have all new hardware. We have new emergency brake shoes. We have new cables. The pedal goes right to the floor. We got to figure it out. We have to figure out what's wrong. And do you charge the customer for extra diag, or if the vendor sends you the wrong emergency brake cables that are too long and I have to redo the job, do you charge the customer? The vendor's not going to eat it, so who eats it? Business owner eats it. The business owner eats it. That took us all day yesterday and it's still on the lift. So forget that I might not make any money from the customer on it. I'm not making any money on the car. That Grand Cherokee over there needs a wheel bearing. I had a customer come look at it yesterday and the wheel bearing was humming. Well, you know what? If I wasn't doing auto repair, my wheel bearing wouldn't be humming. It would have been fixed already and that car would be sold, would have made me $1,500 instead of working for free on an Avalanche. Last example. I have another set of emergency brake cables coming for that one just in case I was sent the wrong ones from AutoZone. The Mazda, I have parts coming from Napa Sanels. The Jeep, I have a horn coming from the other parts. 3 different vendors, I'm waiting on 3 different parts for 3 different vehicles. All while nothing I can do on any of the 3 cars because I'm waiting for one day that these guys show up so we can do our work on each of the 3 cars. More headaches, more problems because of the auto repair side. I would never recommend you guys opening an auto repair shop. And the last reason why is because, let's say I work on the brakes of this Scion and then the horn stops working 3 days from now, that customer's gonna come back and say, I broke his horn. Who's he gonna wanna fix it for free? You, me, and then he's gonna be mad if I don't. Just another thing that happens all the time. Hey, you changed my oil last week and now my brakes are squealing. I don't know what you did, but you broke my brakes. Fix them. Or they leave a bad review. This video sounds like a rant. It sounds like a complaint. It's not. You guys listen to me for the business knowledge, the life experience that I have. Here's what it's like. Don't open an auto repair shop. It's a freaking pain in the ass, all right? I work 10 times as hard 10 times as many bills, 10 times as many invoices, 10 times as many checks out to vendors as I would if I just fixed my own cars in-house and sold them. Think about it this way, and this is the last thing I'm going to leave you with. I buy this Chevy Suburban. I put it in, I do brakes, I do a wheel bearing, I do a control arm. I don't write a customer a bill, I just write a bill for myself, put it in the window so customers that buy the car know what we've done to it. Done. I list it for sale, customer comes, they buy the car, I write the paperwork up, takes me 15 minutes, they leave, they're done, I'm paid several thousands of dollars. Customer A, B, C, D come for brake jobs in one day. That's 4 brake jobs, 4 bills, 4 customers I have to speak to, 4 times I have to call the parts store, 4 times people can screw things up, 4 times I have to talk to the mechanic hoping he's doing the right job, checking in on him. All of it's 4 times more work for less money, all while that Suburban, when I sell that, would make me several thousands of dollars. And if I'm working on that Scion instead of my Suburban, it's cutting into my profits. So unless you have 2 techs, which now means more headaches, finding techs alone, reliable, responsible techs, is difficult in itself. Unless you're a big shop, it's a lot of work. My recommendations for you guys starting out: learn how to fix cars on your own. Fix your own cars. Don't worry about auto repair. Don't worry about outside service. Work at your shop on your own. Put your own time, your own blood, sweat, and tears into fixing your own cars. Sell them. If that's what you're doing to get started, that's how you should do it. That's the right way. Everything else is going to be more expensive. Unless you just throw your cars to another auto repair shop for them to fix it, but then you're waiting on them. And you're also paying a lot more money for them to repair your cars. But how I started, I fixed the cars myself, or I subbed them out to another auto repair shop. Never dealt with headaches of customers. It was so easy. That's how I would do it. If this video was at all helpful, do me a favor, subscribe down below. You can hit the bell too to get more notifications every time I make a new video. If this video sucked, tell me why. If this video was great, tell me why. If there's things I should change in my business because you guys are doing better than I am, also tell me why. I'll see y'all later. Adios. Last time for real. Perfect scenario. So I sold this Suburban today. Made a good amount of money off it. The only problem is the driver rear door handle doesn't work from the outside. So I told the girl I'd have it fixed for her to come pick it up tomorrow. So I have 2 today to fix that for her to pick it up tomorrow morning. Here's the problem. I have this stupid F-150 fluid change, differential oil, radiator flush, all that blah, blah, blah for a customer on schedule for today. So I either don't get that done in time because it's towards the end of the day, and do this and get this done, which is actually going to pay really well, or I don't get this done and I get the F-150 done, which is going to pay pennies on the dollar. So I think the clear choice is obviously get the Suburban done because it's going to pay me well. But that's the perfect example of why this coincides or doesn't coincide and conflicts with each other. I guess I could stop making these silly videos and go do it myself, but you get the point now. I know I said that was it, but I have one more. It's a week after the job was done on that Scion, and it just perfectly fits this video, so I wanted to add one more thing. I'm going to show you a text message right now. I want you guys to read it. Welcome back. Okay, so that customer 2 days later sent me a text message saying there was a stain on the paint of his 2006 220,000 mile completely rotted out Scion TC that wasn't there before he dropped it off. The car sat in our lot for 2 weeks, wasn't touched. It was just taking up property, real estate that other cars could be sitting in for 2 weeks because the guy was waiting for a nonprofit to pay for his job. So he needed approval from a nonprofit to pay for his job, the brake job. So the car sat and sat and sat and sat. Didn't get touched. Nothing happened to it. Finally, he got the approval. So somebody else paid for his car to get fixed, $700 or so. So he didn't pay a dime. Then 2 days later, he messages me and says that there's a stain on the paint of his rusty old 200,000 mile car. And he expects me to fix it because it wasn't there before. What could we have possibly done to the paint and the clear coat of his vehicle? We had it in the garage for a day and it sat outside for 2 weeks. In the open air, not under a tree. So that goes to show exactly what this job is. It is the perfect example of what owning an auto repair shop is like. See you later, everybody. Adios. Thanks for putting up with my rant.